Coming up on this episode of MTV News, we'll explore accepting oneself, review the question of video game addiction, and the importance of respecting school property. All this and more only on MTV. Welcome back. Today we'll be looking at some very serious topics. Identity and acceptance are important to understand in this day and age. Let's learn more about them.
Depression is real, especially for those who struggle to feel accepted for their identity. Even families can have a big impact. Being open about your identity is a hard thing to do. There will always be people who won't support you, but it's a bigger problem when the people closest to you are the ones who don't support. There are unlimited ways to identify your gender and sexual orientation. For some kids, when they tell their parents how they feel, their parents will be very supportive and understanding. It usually takes time for family and friends to understand, but most of the time they'll come around. Although for some kids, parents will refuse to believe and make excuses. There might be someone in your life that is struggling. Take time to understand and listen. It is important that kids who are struggling feel supported so that they can be happy and confident in who they are.
More and more kids are getting addicted to video games. Let's dive into this issue a little farther to understand ways to get a better handle on the situation.
Video games can be one of the most addictive activities. 2 billion people play video games globally. Video game addiction can seriously affect people's mental health and their life. Even though video games are electronic, they are just like any other addiction.
I work as a child and adolescent psychiatrist, which means I'm a physician that works with teenagers and children and their families on solving problems of emotion. Like any type of compulsive and addictive behavior, playing video games can take the place of what people would normally spend their time doing. These things can become the central focus of one's life to the exclusion of everything else.
While all people can get addicted to video games, people's personality traits can affect their daily video game usage.
The research into video game addiction points out 3 personality traits that are much more likely to cause somebody to develop an addiction. The first is impulsivity, having a very hard time resisting the urge to act on something.
While video games are very addictive, not all video games are as addictive as other video games.
Some games are just better at sucking you in than others. Some examples that come to mind are open world multiplayer games.
Video games can often take the place of people's everyday life.
Spending excessive time playing video games often gets in the way of socializing, forming relationships, being able to attend school and finish homework, and having free time to spend on other things besides playing games.
Video games can be so addictive, people can forget the real world because of video games.
They're looking for an escape, something to help them get away from difficult to manage emotions or feeling states or situations that they're dealing with in their lives.
Even though video games have negative effects, they can be positive too.
It's important to mention some of the positive aspects of responsible and reasonable video game use. It can be a good way to connect with people virtually, especially in the time of the pandemic, and it can allow us to develop skills and confidence about being good at something.
While video games are very negative, you can make them positive too.
School property is not always taken care of, especially on a school campus, where students are required to share everything. This next video helps us learn what you can do to keep school materials in good shape.
When handling school property, make sure to do your part by treating the materials with care and respect. When school materials are not respected, this can cause inequities for lots of students. Think about something as simple as a library book. If multiple pages get ripped out by mistake when it is in your hands, other students would miss out on a book that they enjoy without some of the important details. Caring for school property makes the school so much better for everyone on campus.
Do you know what a micronation is? Micronations don't usually get a lot of attention. Let's see what they are and what they're about.
What is a micronation?
According to YouTuber General Knowledge, a micronation is a political entity not recognized by any other nations.
Some of the most famous micronations are Sealand, located off the coast of the UK, Ladonia, located on the Swedish coastline. There is also Saborga, which is a city located in western Italy.
Why should we care about micronations?
While you won't find micronations in your history book, they are located throughout the globe and are enriched with interesting facts.
For example, the micronation of Molossia, they use cookie dough as currency. Yum! The Arakan Empire claims to have a colony on Mars, and Sealand was founded on a World War II platform, complete with an anti-aircraft gun.
So how did the micronations get their start? A gentleman by the name of Major Paddy Roy Bates located a World War II platform named Rogues Tower that was outside the UK's maritime borders. Those are international waters not claimed by any nation. That meant Major Bates could establish his own nation, thus Sealand was formed. Soon, other micronations followed in its footsteps.
While the number of micronations is untrackable, there is a gathering every 4 years of the micronation leaders coming together to communicate and collaborate.
There is also a micronation Olympics. Disc golf, chess, and checkers are a few of the events.
So now you know what a micronation is, maybe you might consider developing one yourself.
That concludes this episode of MTV News SIBA Edition. I'm Emma, and we hope you enjoyed our video. Don't forget to keep an eye out for next week's video.